spatially like that. And that can be confusing because I think that, for example, the fourth dimension is overlaid on us here. The fifth dimension is overlaid on top of that here. So if you went to a seventh dimensional being who would be so wonderful and celestial compared to us, they are here, right now. And so to speak spatially of that can be a bit confusing. So I have started to think of it in terms of densities, which again is an old thing. A few thousand years ago they were saying this. People pick it up now and again. Various channeled material will talk in these terms, which I think is good. It's nice to get different perspectives on it. And you can think of everything in that sense as a configuration of energy. And to me, it makes sense to say that we exist in the third density state. And so a shift, of course, is a movement to the fourth density, which to me is characterized by non-physical energetic manifestation. So there's no need for the anchor of physical form, and entities in that space can move very freely and can evolve and transmute their form in a much more unrestricted manner than we experience here. And that fourth density state is also, as it happens in my understanding of this, is the last density where any sort of negative conduct is possible. And so it's the final testing ground to get your consciousness ready to move to the next point in this normal, organic human ascendancy. Nothing remarkable this. It's normal. It's what everybody does. It's just that we've got sidetracked over the last 25,000 years, in my view. And I think that is coming upon us, and a clever way that happens, and it's funny, really. It really is funny. Is that the rug of the third density gets pulled from under your feet. So if you haven't got any sort of way of balancing yourself, then you're just going to fall flat on your ass, and you're going to end up in a funny situation. And so it's not a wise thing, and I think everybody knows this, hand on heart, even the materialists and the hedonists of the world. It's not a very prudent maneuver to put all your consciousness into the nice things of the third density, because that's going away. That is going away. Not from the whole universe, but just from this part of the galaxy. As we get closer to the core, physical density is less and less, and physical form is less appropriate in a way. And so as we increase our consciousness and deepen it, the effect is that we're more able to maneuver with that, free from a physical form. In the same way that Victorian occultists would talk about astral projection, that is a fourth dimensional day-to-day living experience that is around the corner, in my view. And so you can practice with that now, and you can see some of the challenges involved with that, about navigation and about communication and about sustenance and about direction and virtue and so on. And it seems that just in the same way that there's this threshold of safety that means that you have to get your conduct sorted out before you can move to a fifth density state. So you can't go there as a baddie, to put it in simple terms. You have to be morally, what we would call morally capable in a very natural sense, in that you have just a bulletproof fine conduct and integrity. And similarly, if you shift down, people who haven't mastered morals and ethics and simple principles of proper human conduct are not able to transition to a fourth density state. So there is a sacredness and a respect in everybody's journey here. So even though it may look very ugly to us to see somebody working through such apparently low lessons in life, we're all at different stages. You don't just do this over a 90-year lifespan. You do it over thousands of years on Earth. So when you see the guy down the street who's beating someone up, he may just be a newcomer, and he's learning very primal lessons about how to conduct himself. And guess what? Next time round, it'll be him who's beaten up. So you get to see it from both perspectives. And then the next time round, there won't be any beating up because he's experienced it. He's been the beater and the beatee. So he's not going to be doing that again. And so we have to acknowledge that being a little more enlightened than others, a little more, we see a breadth of experience that can look very confusing when we look at the baseness of some of our fellow men and women. And yet that is a sacred thing that they're going through, and it would be wrong of us to pull that away from them and to ask them in some way to disown their own growth. Why would we do that? If they don't go through that, they'll never know. And so, in short, I would say that everybody goes through the shifts of consciousness levels, of densities. Everybody goes through that, and you cannot not go through that. But everyone has their own velocity for this stuff, their own speed of progress. And so if you make it your business to live as a sage, to use the old Chinese language, and become a wise person and live a wise way of life, then your velocity is going to increase. You're going to move really quickly. And as I'm sure you and your listeners can smile when I say this, that you leave a lot of people behind when you do that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of things that used to bring you satisfaction and pleasure and solace don't anymore. So with that speed also comes some challenges and some responsibilities, but also great gifts and great distances covered, and the places you can go to with that velocity really open up. So I wouldn't change it for the world, but that transformation is something that one has to get used to as you move through your conscious evolution. You can't just have somebody come and say, here, let me give you a paradigm-shifting, fourth-dimensional awakening. There you go, there it is. Because they'd just explode. You know, there'd be no groundwork, no tools, no equipment, no awareness. Mm-hmm. It's not good to do that. So to expect a savior to come and do that, or a redeemer if you're a religious person, or the craft from the Pleiades to come and just make it all good and make it all better, that's not going to happen. And if it does, it's fake. But that wouldn't really happen, because any advanced or intelligent life forms who do look upon us and observe us for a long time, they want us to grow. They want us to grow naturally, just as the botanist would look at plants. He's not going to mess about with them. He wants to see how they grow. And he knows that their best evolution is to grow in the most organic, pure way possible. And so it is with human consciousness.
As we've said, we are the ones we've been waiting for in many regards. So I wholeheartedly am on board with what you're saying. I mean, and really, although we mentioned the date of October 28th, I mean, logically, we've known, it's a date like New Year's Eve 1999, when we were anticipating that the year 2000 something was going to happen. You're right. There's been these cycles in time all the way along. And, it's just interesting to see how we are going to continue to evolve. And in numerology and astrology, it points to we're different souls at different levels having different experiences, not good or bad, just at different places. And some are older than others, and some have just come here for the first time, and we all have different experiences we're going through and operating with different levels of consciousness. And the other thing that I want to point out about is that Mercury is going retrograde in November again, and my sense with Mercury retrograde, because I often have people say to me, why the heck, what is the purpose of Mercury retrograde? All it does is muck up my computers or my telephones. I lose things and so on and so forth. But exactly what you're saying, what I see is it's a tool to remind us of we're meant to use our mental, physical, and emotional capabilities to not rely on this stuff so much, because we do become...
It does. Yes, it does. It really does. I'm so glad you said that. That negativity is a learning engine. Mm-hmm. And without it, we all kind of just dance around under the trees, which is very nice, but sometimes polarity is necessary. And in the third density state, it's absolutely necessary. And it keeps us bouncing around from positive to negative charge and doing stuff about it. And the negativity is absolutely our projection and absolutely our fault and our joy and our responsibility. And so we must never get too wrapped up in that. It's just an engine of creation, and it's nothing to worry about. It's only a worry for your ego, who is in love with you but is a survivalist crackpot as well, and is worried that once the form dissolves that everything is game over. So you have to quietly say to the ego, look, buddy, I know you're trying to do your best, I know you love me and care about me, but it's okay. We are infinite, and just have to take my word for that. And if you can have that allegorical little exchange at that level, you start to worry less about what changes come. And yet it would be odd to see massive waves and, you know, alien landings and crustal shifts and all the amazing, freaky, bizarre things that could come upon us. And yet, so what? So what if they do? You know, that's how it has to be. That's what occurs. It's not what happens. It's how you deal with it. It's not what you do even. It's the way that you do it. It's your attitude and your conduct and your growth and your compassion. Those are the things that measure our progress, not the events.
Absolutely. Well, that's a wonderful place to end. And see, you did get it done in 20 minutes. Thank you for this powerful talk today on consciousness. I really appreciate you taking the time with us today, Neil. And how can people get in touch with you?
Well, thank you. It's been a great pleasure to speak with you. Yes, if anybody would like to find out more about my work, then they can simply go to neilkramer.com. So that's NeilKramer, neilkramer.com. And there are various essays and interviews and videos and materials and things on there that people can get the teeth into should they so wish.
And do you want to tell us just a little bit about your book? I know it's not out now, but it's coming out in the spring. Can you give us a little insight on that?
Yes, my book is coming out in the spring, and it's my first sort of major book in this area. I have other things from previous existences, but this particular spiritual philosophy, this empowerment that we're talking about, some of the themes we've talked about today, the book is really a synthesis of my endeavor to bring clarity and transformation to people and have it be an adventure, not have it be something painful, not have it be something scary, but to understand that our life itself is the instrument of our own ascendance. And once you kind of figure that out, you can literally redesign it, you can change it, you can transform it, and you can re-magic